So Basculin is pretty much the definition of a sweeper. 92 attack, 98 speed, so you're pretty fast. You have decent speed. You're not like the fastest thing, but you have pretty good speed and good attack. 80 special attack, you won't really use that often, but it's pretty good. And 70 health with 65 defense and 55 special defense. You're not taking any hits, pretty much. Basculin's pretty much going to get one shot, or pretty much every hit, every decent hit's going to one-shot him, or bring him down to like 20% health, 10% health, because he's really frail, but his abilities are really good. His abilities are Reckless, Adaptability. Well, okay, the red striped form has they both have Reckless. They both have Adaptability and Mold Breaker as their hidden ability. But the difference is the red striped one has Reckless and the blue striped has Rockhead. Reckless is a better ability, honestly. Reckless makes it so your recoil and crash moves have 1.2 power, and Rockhead makes it so you don't take any damage from recoil moves, but for being frail, you want the extra damage pretty much, and you'll take the recoil. Unless you're sashed, you want to take the recoil damage. You want the extra damage and just take the recoil because you're frail anyway. So if you don't have a focus touch, you're gonna get one shot most of the time anyway. So you want to bring Basculin in as like a late game sweeper. Like, if he's the fastest thing, he can go out and finish everything off. So he's really good at that. But also being pure water typing is also really good at type, because you're weak to grass and electric, and that's it. And you resist steel, fire, water, and ice. So it's pretty good. You don't have to worry about grass and electric, but he's frail anyway. But you can switch him in on these hits and be fine, his resistances, but you gotta be really careful about those, because even weaker grass or electric moves will one-shot you most of the time. But his best ability, I would say, is Adaptability. Mode Breaker is a really good ability, but it kind of sucks on him because the main uses of Mode Breaker are to get through Levitate and Mimic You, but he doesn't have anything that can hit Mimic You super effective. Like, he doesn't even learn Iron Tail, so he doesn't have anything that would destroy Mimic You. I mean, you could Mode Breaker into, like, I don't think you one-shot Mimic You. You could use Mode Breaker just to do damage to Mimic You, but your next Pokemon's gonna break the sash anyway. So Mode Breaker isn't that good on him. Adaptability is a really good ability, but the plan with this one is Life Orb, either Liquidation. You want a Life Orb Liquidation and do a ton of damage with the Adaptability boost. Psychic Fang and Crunch are there just for coverage, honestly, but Liquidation and Aqua Jet are your bread and butter here. Pretty much, you bring it in on something you're faster, you KO like Liquidation, or they switch out and you two-shot them in Liquidation. Aqua just this there, so like if you KO something and they bring in something faster that you know would one-shot you, or something that comes in that super effective hit, you can Aqua Jet just to get some good damage off. But pretty much max speed, max attack, because you want to outspeed everything with the Life Orb too, and just do as much damage as possible. But another one that also uses adaptability is pretty much Liquidation is your bread and butter again, but on this one you want to go adamant and try to use Scale Shot the first turn you come in. You come in on something that's weaker or something that you force to switch out, and you Scale Shot, and hopefully it hits with his 90% accuracy. And at the very end, it lowers your defense, which doesn't matter because you're sashed anyway, but it raises your speed so you can run the Adamant Nature to get the more attack. And then Adaptability, Liquidation, everything down. Psychic Fang, Crunch for coverage. Scale Shot's actually really good coverage too, and it breaks sashes and things like that, so you can make use of that against something that is, you come in on something that's Shell Smashed or something like that, that has really low defense that you can take out, but it has a sash. You think it has a sash, you can just Scale Shot and take it out, which is really good. But the bread and butter is, again, Adaptability, Liquidation. You can also run Aqua Jet for this too if you're at 1 health, or if they bring in something faster and they hit you and you're at 1 health, just to get the Aqua Jet off to do damage. But I like having the coverage moves instead. But making use of their difference in abilities, this Basculin is Life Orb and just recoil moves. Head Smash is a lot, 150 base power. Double Edge has 30% recoil, 120 base power. Both Rockhead, you don't have the recoil, and then Liquidation and Psychic Fang for coverage. Also, an option instead of Liquidation, if you want a slightly more damage with the accuracy chance, you can run Aqua Tail, but I like the reliability of Liquidation because it can't miss, which is really good. You could also run a Waterfall if you want to play the flinch chance. Same with Zen Headbutt if you want to run this flinch chance with these two versus Psychic Fang and Liquidation, but I like Psychic Fang does more damage, and I don't like playing. I'd rather take the damage at 100% accuracy than more damage or the chance to flinch with both of them. But pretty much Head Smash, Double Edge, Liquidation. Your main two moves are going to be honestly Head Smash and Liquidation for the stab. Head Smash is 150 base power. Double Edge is just a monstrous normal hit. This is monster, it's neutral hit for the most part, and Psychic Fang is just coverage. You could also run Crunch in this spot if you're worried about ghost types or specific matchups, but I would say the first 3 moves are pretty much a must. But you could also, honestly, I would run Red Stripe with the Reckless instead, just for the extra damage and the recoil, because you're already Life Orb, so you're going to hit them, and if they survive, they're KOing you most of the time. Rockhead's not going to make that big of a difference, honestly. I don't think it's that good on Basculin, just because he's not tanky. If he was tanky, it would be a whole different thing. But I would say run Red Fin, because you'll get the extra damage. You'll take a ton in recoil damage, honestly, and the tankier, the more health they have, the more recoil damage they'll take. But you're going to get 2-shot anyway. I'd rather take the extra damage. And I mean, you could also run a Sash in this, though. If you want to run Blue Stripe and you want the Rockhead, you can run a Focus Sash. That way you can get the monstrous head smash pretty much with no negative, because you won't take recoil from either of these. So you have a monstrous hit. You won't take recoil. They hit you. They bring you down to 1 health, and then you can Liquidation. You can run Aqua Jet if you want for the priority. Instead of maybe Double Edge Aqua Jet. But you can run these. You can use Head Smash, for example, on a flying type and not have to worry about the recoil. Or you could one-shot something with a Head Smash and still have a Sash behind you. Rock Head Smash and still have the Sash behind you. So that's something you could do. If you run Blue Stripe with the recoil moves, I would say run Sash, actually, just for that extra protection. If you just want all damage, I would run Red Fin with Life Orb and these moves. But another thing you could do, if you want to go all in on the adaptability, water, you could run max speed, max attack, pretty much, depending on who you're against, because you can survive a hit, pretty much, you want to bring them in. You can survive a hit or two, depending on what it is, if it's a monster hit or not, but you attack them, they hit you, you endure Lychee Berry procs, or if you know they're going to hit you with a super effective electric or grass type move, you just endure, you get the Lychee Berry proc with adaptability, Aqua Jet, everything. And reversal, you have a +1 Aqua Jet with adaptability, or you'll have a 250 base power reversal. And if it's something that you know you can't hit hard, like maybe a Jellicent, for example, because it's ghost, so it's immune to this, and it's water, so it resists this. Well, I guess maybe not Jellicent, because Endeavor wouldn't hit him. But something that resists fighting, like a Psychic water type, or something like that, you just Endeavor it. If you know you can't KO, because you're at 1 health, you Endeavor it, it faints, and then you just bring in something faster that has priority and take it out. So you can do things like that with Basculin to make use of that. You could also, with Blue Stripe, do something like this, endure Lychee Berry, and then Rockhead or Head Smash, and make use of the Rockhead and just have 1 health, and get rid of this for Head Smash, honestly, and get rid of this for Liquidation. If you want just like full damage, you could do something like that, Liquidation, Head Smash, but it would have to be the blue one so you can get the Rockhead, but you wouldn't have adaptability. So it's a little give or take, but you have the 150 with no recoil. So some of the other moves, it learns agility, but I don't think you'd get the speed and then you wouldn't have enough damage, I think, to back it up. So it's very risky running agility, because you can get the +2 and then you outspeed everything, but then you hit them, they live, or they have a Sash or something like that, and they pretty much get rid of your agility. You just pretty much wasted. You just did 1 attack, which would have been the same as normal. Flip Turn is pretty much a water type U-turn, but less damage, I want to say. I want to say Flip Turn is actually less damage than U-turn, because I think U-turn is like 70, but that's an option. It's a tutor move. And again, Aqua Gel if you want to run more damage, but in the accuracy game. Crunch is always a good coverage move too. It's an option. But one thing about Basculin is Ice Fang too, for when like Guard Chomp and them get announced, or if you get, or not announced, but when they get released, or if you just want the ice coverage, Ice Fang, it just has low damage, so it's like really if it's 4 times effective, that's about it. I would never run Superpower, honestly, because it lowers your attack, so you're pretty much screwed at that point. It learns Final Gambit too, which is an option if you go max speed. Flail, also for the 1 HP, Flail is an option. You could run Flail, it was this one. You could run Flail instead of this spot if you want to run just the Lychee Berry. You can run Flail, just 250 base power. If they resist these two, maybe Flail can hit them nutrient. Flail also has 250 base power, if I remember right. But let's say you could also Dynamax into like Bounce, but Final Gambit if you have max speed, and that's pretty much it. If you Dynamax Basculin though, I would say maybe Bounce, Head Smash, Aqua Tail, and Superpower, I would say. That way you can get the +1. You get the +1 attack off of Superpower. You can get the Rain on your side, so Water Dews move more. I would be careful. Water type moves do more. I'd be careful with Head Smash because it brings Sandstorm, which could screw you over. It could not. And bounce it just for the speed and some coverage. You could also run Psychic Fang or yeah, I would run Psychic Fang or Crunch. But I like Bounce though in that option. Adamant, Bounce, or it doesn't matter. You can run whatever nature you want. If you want guaranteed outspeeds, Bounce. If you want to Dynamax on slower Pokemon, you can bring Adamant. But Super Fighting will raise your attack, Bounce will raise your speed, Agato being the rain, Head Smash does a lot of damage. So that's how you use Basculin. Both forms of Basculin in Pokemon Sword and Shield.